What's up, people? Welcome back to another episode of All You Can Eat Warriors. And yeah, it's great to be back after a nice, healthy weekend of eating. And we ate some really nice foreign meat. Actually, it's not very common, but a bit of tiger. I love a bit of tiger. Um, I'm sure I Show Speed has probably had a bit of that in his journey over in China. You follow Speed, bro?
Bro, he's a crazy man, bro. Of course I follow a little bit of speed, bro. He's that guy's on a different level, right?
Oh, it's crazy. I was watching him with his fake a bald head thing on, doing this kung fu, and the guy's whacking him over the side of the back. Oh, bro.
He's a different
Um,
bro. He will always remember Dallin what's in his Lesniak, bro. Straight over the top of him, baby. Let's
yeah, that's
go.
right. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, no, big up speed. Hey, big up everyone in the chat, man. Great to have you guys. The regulars as always. Tahi, Taz, Isco, Makasini. Good to see you, my friend. Forever, as always. Lexi, man. Welcome in. Alec, Causa. Good to see everyone in the chat as well, man. And crazy chat last night, bro. We were all over the shop, man. We had people applying for jobs. We got people going on dates. We had guys selling stuff like it was marketplace. So absolute
I did
crazy night
see
last
that.
night. Yeah,
There's a
absolutely.
Hilux up for sale. There's a lot
Yeah.
going on in that chat last night. But
Oh,
it's buy round, brother. We're happy. 3-1.
everyone's
Everyone's
so
cheering.
happy right now. No, it was good vibes, bro. So everyone was just able to chill and relax. No stress.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, big up everyone in the chat again. As I say, um, let's quickly hit, bro. The just reflecting on the game.
Yep.
3-1, man. We are the Tiger Kings. We
Woo.
dominated. What you if you've had some time to look back at the game and reflect, and a lot of controversy overseas. We know all the Tigers fans are complaining about calls, but and what did
Welcome
you
to
make
our
of the
world.
game after the last few days? 'Cause I know you had to shoot after that, the live stream, so maybe we haven't really caught all of your thoughts. But yeah, share with us, man. What's your post match thoughts on the game?
Incredible game of football, bro. And I think both these teams have shown that this year, they're playing definitely at a better level than last year. Obviously, the West Tigers have been the last how many years? They actually shown a lot of effort, connectivity with our boys. This year coming into this, we just got a little bit more of a steel edge. One thing I see going around, like, because I love listening to all the other thoughts and podcasts of a lot of people, their thoughts overall in this game. I kind of disagree with them a little bit. I know there was a point in this game where we could have definitely lost it, but there was a lot of points on both sides where, the Tigers definitely could have lost this game as well, and we could have definitely ran home with it, right? I believe. And looking at the statistics at the end of the day, we were the more dominant side overall, just unable to be clinical in certain moments. And, I was still really happy just overall with how the team just continued to fight. There was some uncharacteristic defensive moments that I think the boys will fix up on coming into against the Melbourne Storm. We definitely need to. But to go out there, run for over 2,000 meters against the West Tigers side, 4 line breaks, 42 tackle breaks. Our set distance was almost 50 meters every time we had the ball to the Tigers 38. Like, we were really, really solid in that game. We tasted that little, like, when 24-18, we were a little bit worried, but
Yep.
we started. It feels so much like 2023 to where I can look at this game and be like, I know we're going to be into it. It worried me in Vegas where I was feeling like a little bit
Mm,
more 2024, where I had a little
yeah.
bit of uneasiness sometimes watching the Warriors, where 2023, I felt like every game, even if we got behind, that the boys would still hold in and just play with a ton of energy and effort. And I think to start the season, the base that we're setting is on effort, intensity, and defense. And that's a very similar base we set in 2023. So I'm expecting the chapters to continue to grow. Our attack will continue to grow. And we'll talk a bit more about the stats we're laying out at the moment to start the season. But 3-1, bro, I can't complain. And against the Tiger side, that's hot. Like, everyone's loving them. They're the story of the rugby league at the moment. And you can definitely tell that with all the commentary around the game is everyone hates to see him losing right now. But unfortunately, we were the better team, I thought, on the night, and we deserved to come away with the 2 points, but very close game.
Just want to touch on your talk around the 2023-2024 season, and
Mm.
now that kind of resembling more 2023. Is that because you think we've gotten rid of guys have left like AFB, SJ, big characters, Tohu? Tohu was a positive, but maybe him as a captain, it's got a new fresh voice with Mitchy B and Fish. Do you relate that in any way to the guys that have left, and maybe having a renewedness of energy, a refresh?
I think it's more of the fact of I know we've had people leave mid-season already, but I think we have a group there that's committed to staying for a long period of time, or like willing to be around each other for a long period of time. We're connected just like we were in 2023. You know, in 2023, we had a decent start, then we had a little bit of a rocky period. Then that Sharks game happened where the boys just galvanized and they rolled for the season. I feel like, you know, we've had a couple of those games already where it looks like the boys have gotten really, really close on the off field. And as I said before, like 2024 felt like, you know, as soon as AFB was leaving, then there was a lot of rumors about everyone else wanting to leave, Josh Curran leaving, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It just was rocky ground, where this year it just feels like much more of a sturdy base, and the boys are working for each other, and you get to see it out in that football field, the effort and how we're holding a contest a little bit more than what we had obviously in 2024.
No, it's a great point. Just want to touch on now some of the standouts from that performance. Look, I had a good chat last night, and we talked about a lot of them. But man, if you could name maybe 3 or 4 guys that you really were impressed with, and their attributes, what they were able to show to you, yeah, share with us, man, because I thought there were quite a few. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. Yep.
100%, bro. Number 1, Aaron Clark. You know, his period now, and he's such a big guy that we need right now. Now Dylan Walker's gone. He's got to fill the shoes of Tohu, and Tohu's such big shoes to fill. But this guy is doing it in his own way. And I'm really appreciating his work for the last 3 weeks in a row. He's been absolutely incredible. Like, Webby's now understood that, you know, that whole round 1 in Vegas, a little bit of mismatching starting Jackson, like, probably should have trusted in Aaron Clark, and look at him doing it now, bro. He's absolutely killing it. 159 run meters over the weekend. He's actually holding up a lot of that standard that we lost with AFB with post-contact meters and meterage. Like 159 over the West Tigers, 61 post-contact for not as big a body as a real solid knock. Another guy I want to shout out is Jackson Ford. I really do think that, like, Vegas, he didn't have a poor performance, but due to, like, obviously fitness towards a later part of that game, how Webby kind of blew him out a little bit, it kind of negated a lot of a lot of thoughts around Jackson Ford started to rear its ugly head again. But since the season, I think he's only had 1 error throughout this whole year at the moment. And he's, four games in. And I think he had an incredible knock over the weekend, 147 meters, 62 post contact coming off the bench. I thought it was really solid. And the last one I want to shout out is Wade Egan. Like, we've touched on this in the WhatsApp chat, guys. If you want to become a member, guys, make sure you jump in. If you want to be a first grade member, guys, you can get into our WhatsApp chat where we discuss all this pretty much day in, day out. But for this halves pairing to work and to continue to work, I think it all has to come down on Wade Egan and how he can, you know, control the game. And he's stepping up, and that's 3 really good performances back to back to back. And you can tell he's kind of steadying the ship for our halves to continue to develop. You know, our halves don't have to be absolute superstars to win games. You know, we probably needed to develop them a little bit more later on down the track. But if Wade Egan was to take over, you know, again, when I say this, people, I'm not comparing him to Cam Smith, but if he takes a Cam Smith role and just takes a lot of the direction for the squad, I think it just bodes well for, you know, both our halves to learn on the run, you know, the way Jerome Hughes and Munster did. And those boys can play off the back of Wade Egan. And I think a lot of people are starting to take notice now that he's had an incredible knock to start the season.
Is that, just going back on Wade, is that for you just him being in better health, or is that actually a change in mentality from Webby saying, mate, we need more from you? You can't fall on or rest on SJ or, you know, other guys that were key pieces to how we played. Walker now's gone, so you got to be very creative. What do you attribute that most to? That kind of, because he has had 3 great performances recently.
Yeah, and we're saying this, like, you know, anything can happen in the next coming weeks. Like, we've seen Wade Egan have an incredible performance back to back to back at times. Even last year, he's had some really good ones. But I think to start the season, he looks like he's got his tackle tech down really nice. Like, he's not getting his body in the worst positions. You know, he's getting through a full 80-minute game where I'm not looking at him going, like, he took a knock in that position. Like, he's had, you know, 4 games where I've looked at him. I think I only remember 1 knock where I looked at him and went, oh, that's a bit close, Wade-O. Like, don't do that again. But I think
Yeah.
he's just been a bit more smarter with his body in a way. I agree with, I think I saw Jacko, his chat with him playing 80. He could become burnt out a little bit later. And that's where I do think that Sam Healy might have to come on the bench
Yeah.
maybe later. I don't know if Afol was just a placeholder for this weekend and whatever happens after that, we'll have to wait and see. But because obviously Healy came back with a shoulder injury as well. So we're waiting to see how that works. But if he continues to do what he's doing right now and steady the ship, I'm really excited to see what this spine in general has to prove. And he looks fit, ready to go, and he started the season with a bang.
Just quickly, I know they were the highlight reel. He was the highlight reel, and a guy you've been big on, Mr. Super Leka. If you know the ad in New Zealand, S to the U to the P-E-R-R, Super Leka. I don't know if you guys have Super Leka over in Aussie, but yeah, it's an ad we have here. You know, oh man, it's gold. It's gold. Anyway, that was why I put the title. If anyone read the title of the stream, they would know that I was referencing that ad. But what do you make of him, bro? Absolutely. I'm getting this vibe from this kid that he has this kind of, what to say, it feels like a clutch gene, but it's like he's able to seize the moment. He's so raw and athletic that he just has this confidence. I think all those young boys, what I'm getting from them is confidence, but he has extreme confidence to step to May like that, you know, to challenge anyone. He smashed Galvin underneath the ribs. Galvin was like, didn't want any of it. Bro, I know you've been big on him. Man. Are you happy for him? And is this just the beginning? You know, what more can we expect from him?
Oh, bro, I couldn't be more happier. Like, you know, if you guys know, obviously on Mars Up TV, you've heard me wax lyrical about this kid. And as I continue to say, he's my favorite out of the group that we have coming up through these forward pack, you know, Vaimwanga, Labens, you know, all these boys coming through. Leka is the one that I looked at and I was like, this kid's got legit, I continue to say, he's got Jeremiah Nanai's skill set. We still haven't seen the full ability of it. Like, he's incredible under the high ball that people haven't seen just yet. But he's just got this aggressiveness that just I feel like Nanai doesn't really have. Like, Nanai sometimes can float in and out of games. I feel like Leka is just a guy that takes it to the game. And that's why I like him. Kind of like, you know, look at Laban, and he's been very good in that lately. He's been incredible. But, you know, the mentality of, I feel like Laban sometimes, you know, he probably, with his appearances in first grade, this probably is a little bit harsh to say, but his appearances in first grade have been good, have been solid. But, you know, Leka, as soon as he touches first grade, I think everyone can see just when he runs, they're just like, okay, this kid's different. Like, he is special. Yeah. The speed that he possesses, bro. Every time he touches the football, as exactly as you say, we bring him off the bench, he's our game breaker. Like, he really is a game breaker. And when he gets a starting role, I think people are going to more so see like the full potential of this kid, because he can go for big minutes, he can go for big numbers. But I just love his intent and his aggressiveness. And I feel like you cannot take it away from that kid. Like, he's willing to take it to anyone. And I'm so excited to see more of his future, bro. He's only 19. Again, what was that? The first game against the Bulldogs, he had that moment, almost scoring we probably said one of the best tries we've seen on debut. He's done his first try in NRL. It's probably one of the best tries we've seen in NRL. It's incredible.
I'm not going to lie. The most two exciting things I've seen in the last 2 years have been him involved.
Yeah,
because it reminds me so much like of when SJ played the Broncos when on his debut season. Just extreme athletic ability, and it's someone that's going to take a risk, you know, and has the ability to just blow it out of the park. So I mean, I just think, like Tans is saying here, huge potential. But Tans, he is signed to 2027, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, but we got to make sure that his development continues for sure.
100%.
Yep. Let's just jump now, man, to poor performances. And you know, it's not so much. I mean, at the end of the day, we won, but is there anyone for you that kind of had a poor game or that you kind of a little bit disappointed with?
Off the top of my head, bro, I feel like everyone had their moments. I feel like Ali Leotoa, this is not against him either. I think that like the game didn't really go to him in a way, and I feel like our halves probably need to get him involved, or probably a little bit more. But then again, sometimes that just happens as a center. Like, the game cannot always come to you. But like, I feel like after the weeks that he's had, would have been great to see him absolutely blow the Tigers out to smithereens, especially with the certain outs that they had over the weekend. But I think that in general, I think everyone is really happy. And I don't even mean to bring up Ali Leotola's number, in general, because I didn't think he was bad at all. I don't think we had a poor performance, in my opinion, out there. There was some quieter ones, but I think in general, everyone probably got around really, really well. When we go to our halves, it's kind of just like they're going to develop and they continue to develop. I thought their kicking game was actually really good over the weekend. Looking back over the game, I thought they did all the best things. And Kurt Capewell, I see that in the chat, like he was okay as well, but like I don't think anyone had a poor performance for me anyway.
Yeah. I think there's some poor moments. Like we talked about the halves dying with the ball at times. Dimitrik slap at the ball. I think we were both disappointed with that play in particular. And I think it's great. I think these are good moments to learn from. You can't, those are the ones where the coach has a private word with you and says, hey, mate, those aren't the standards right there. And that's good. So, like I've always said, let the young kids develop, let them grow, let them have, learn from that one. And next time, put your body on the line. But I can't really fault it. I mean, I know a lot of people in the chat saying Marata. I can see that he got caught on some penalties that were quite tricky. It's like those ones where you have to tackle and release. Like you can't do the extra grab. You know the one I'm talking about.
Yep, I know exactly what you mean.
The roll ball. Loss of balance. I think it was in the end. So yeah, but I think that does happen in games to guys that can get in a kind of a pattern of penalties. But then he had some good moments too. I can't really fault. I think it was a bit of.
He scored a try.
He scored a try too. There was a great line too from him. So
moved off that line late. I can't really nail down a poor performance, but you're right. There was poor moments, and this is the thing is we fought back from those moments, but we do need to clean up those moments up, and a lot of them were. Well, one of them, obviously, Dimitrik was a bit more youth. That's something that, he'll learn over time. He's still young, those positions and that slap of the ball, probably would have loved to him just put his body on the line, getting his body in front. But, maybe just within how quick everything kind of went down there, maybe he just thought it was just a reactionary thing, and that's something he needs to train in his game. Honestly, just... That's a lot of stuff that went wrong. We can definitely fix up in a quick period of time. And it's some uncharacteristic ones. Like usually our defense, we've seen over the period, everyone complaining that everyone's getting around us on the edges. But there was a couple of moments in this one where they were actually punching holes through us. Which is our defensive system is we defend from the inside no matter what. We'll allow them to go around us because we'll force an error that way. But, that safe half line break where Chanel kind of got caught in the middle ground there. Those are the little things, but again, those are things we'll learn, and I'm sure that with video and that, Webby will end up fixing that up, and the boys will be red hot and ready to go against Melbourne Storm because that's going to be a tough test.
Just quickly on the CNK penalty, what a lot of controversy around it, and I know we are kind of on the same page. If you are genuinely injured, sure, do it. But, in most situations, you can get up and play the ball there. What did you make of it? And was it fair and justified? And, something we really struggle in the NRL is understanding that Gus Gould has always said if you can't call it an origin on the 78th minute, then there's no point doing it at all. What was Gus's? He had that kind of saying about you have to be able to call penalties on the 79th minute with the game in hand in an origin to justify its use. If you don't call it, then it's a waste of time. So what's your thoughts on that anyway?
Yeah, I'll put my hands up. I said in the live stream as well, and guys know how much I respect CNK, and I think that he can be pretty disrespected these days, but I do think he definitely milked it for a penalty. He did get head contact, so it was a penalty at the end of the day, and I would have loved to see the referee just give that and take it out of the player's hands in a way, right? But I feel like I really wish it didn't come down to where we had to milk a penalty like that. I think for Tigers fans, if Tigers fans are ever watching this, which I don't think there's too many Tigers fans in the chat anyway, but the one thing I'll concede to Tigers fans is in that moment, CNK hitting the head. If we get the penalty, take the two, CNK's got to come off the field for the HIA. Like, I agree with that because we saw earlier in the game, Taruva probably did a better milk job than CNK with not even getting touched in the head. And he got brought off with a HIA, right? So Tigers fans got to understand that too. There was certain ones that happened in the game on both sides, right? Where, they're going to call us milkers and CNK milkers, but like your boy, Taruva, he went out and just bought all the milk at the shot, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like he didn't even get tapped in the head. So I feel like at the end of the day, I'd love to see CNK just not put himself in that situation, but I also would love to see the referee just make a call and take it out of the players' hands. You know what I mean? And I think that I don't know if they'll ever come, but it's just not the greatest look in the game, I guess. But I'll take the win as a Warriors fan for 2 points, right?
Yeah, I mean, I remember Matt Lodge did one. Was it against the Raiders in 22? Was it Lodge? Yeah, Lodge did one, and yeah, it does happen.
Well, Tommy Turbo did one last year from memory for Manly. It was a pretty bad one as well.
SJ did one too. Well, the SJ against Manly.
The leg tap. Yeah. It happens all the time, bro.
Yeah, no, it does. It does. So, yeah, okay. That's great chat. I think majority of the chat are saying that it's the rules are rules.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's the thing, bro. Like, as I said, it's a penalty. But the one thing I would agree with Tigers fans is in that situation, if he's going to get hit in the head, all that sort of stuff, and it is a penalty, just take him off the field. I'm sure that we could have defended it.
Come off. Yeah. I reckon he should have came off CNK.
Yeah. And I think we could have defended that set because a lot of people forget, like, our line speed, and we just trapped the Tigers down their end to force them to make big moments in the game, right? I think we could have defended it out there without CNK, but that's, again, like saying in like hindsight watching the game, like maybe it would have gone different with CNK off the field. But I think in general, like, in that situation there, if it's going to happen, take him off the field. But there was other things that obviously went against us in that game, as I said, like, Jerome Luai probably should have been maybe sitting in the bin. I didn't really have too many thoughts during the game, but looking after, like, I don't know. It's just one of those situations. Sometimes it goes against you, sometimes it doesn't, and I'm sure the Tigers will get one back very shortly.
Yeah, it's a merry-go-round with calls, bro. So I wouldn't be surprised if something happens against the Storm, and we're on the receiving end, man.
It's a Melbourne Storm, bro.
Happens that way. Okay, man. I appreciate you guys. 98 of you guys in here. We appreciate everyone that hit that like and subscribe button. It's great to have all you watching along, and especially on this evening here where we've got a buy, and it's nice to just reflect. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to look back on the last 4 weeks, and it is early days, but we've got a buy, so we might have got time to think about stuff. But who's been your best player so far? And in the chat, Chuck, as well, who you think has been the best player so far has been over these last 4 weeks? Who would be the best player for you so far, Ash?
This is like, because I feel like we've played so well as a team in these last 3 victories, it's been a lot of different players that I've been really, really happy with and excited over. Like, I think Tane's had an incredible period playing on the wing. I feel like he's had some big moments in each game and that. I think that chance in the last 2 games in a row has been unbelievable. You can probably even throw in the Manly game in there as well. But the guy I'm going to give it to, as I said before, because I feel like he's so vital to us this season, I think Wade Egan has been probably our best. Wow. I really do believe. I feel like he's in consistent form at the moment. He's the one that's creating a lot of our structure. And I feel like defensively, the work he's getting through, he's playing 80 minutes per game. I think he's just so vital for us. But again, I could throw up that many different names. Aaron Clark's been solid. Ali Leotoa. But we've had such good team performances. But I'm going Wade Egan.
Wade's been like the nucleus to everything kind of working. He's been generating, I agree with you, he's been generating a lot of offense for everyone just to kind of keep us going. And I've said it's okay to say that the halves aren't really fully clicking yet and creating stuff out wide. So I've got no issue with, and it's not a criticism of the halves that and I think it'll be timing when they do get it, but
Yeah.
in replacement of that, Wade Egan has been doing most of the cooking and trying to get people going, which has been absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
Mm.
another one from yeah, I agree with like a Clark here with Jacko CNK.
Yep.
Um, a lot of the young guys in general have just been so impressive for me. Ali Toa, Leka, and Dimitrik, those three have just been really, really good, and I'm just really happy with their progress. Tane, another one that's just been doing his thing quietly,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's a really good argument. I think at its core, you'd probably go back to Fish and Barnett. Um,
Yeah.
Fish for me has probably been the guy that's been the glue guy. It just feels as though the middle's just tightened up really solidly lately. And I know they leaked a few soft ones last week, but
Yeah.
in general, line speeds, like I can tell from line speed,
Mm-hmm.
general tightness around the ruck defensively,
Hunting from the inside.
and from
Yep.
the inside. Even his carries have been really good. Like I know people had this big massive fear of AFB leaving, and when you break Fish's game down, it's still effective. With the inclusion of the defensive work, which is just so much better. So yeah, I kind of look at it from a deeper level, maybe Fish and Barnett. That pairing has just sort of tightened things up. But,
You know what I love about this question is honestly, as I started to answer this question, is exactly the way it's turned out. Is the amount of names that I've seen already in the chat. Like they're all different names. And like people would remember, like if you were talking 2024 and even 2023, if we had the same conversation, I think the same names would probably come, like the probably individual names, right?
yeah,
AFB
bang
would
on.
be at the top of the list, right? Sean Johnson would be at the top of the list. Everyone else would kind of go to the wayside a little bit, but those were our key members. Those were the main guys. I think like what Fish has brought and Barnett and just the boys in general as a group is we're so much more of a balanced side. We're a team now. Like, when we're talking
Yeah,
about, best performances, that sort of stuff, it's like I can name like that many different names and they'll all be the right answer. And I think that when we
yeah,
look at teams to contend for premierships or top fours or even just to get into top eights, it's more of a team thing, right? Like you talk about the Panthers, you got Cleary, you got Yo, you got like back in the day it was Fish and Leota. You could all say those names and you'd be 100% right. You look at the doggies at the moment and their form. You can't really single out too many people. Like it's just a team aspect. They're just playing so good as a side. And I think that's the best thing about Fisher Harris comparatively to Adam Fanor-Blake is when Adam Fanor-Blake's in your side, he's such a juggernaut. He's such a beast. He's an individual type player in that sort of aspect of like, if we have this discussion, I could just go Adam Fanor-Blake and everyone will be like, yeah, no one else, just Adam Fanor-Blake. But when we have Fish over here now, we can have a discussion. It's like, well, Barnett's just been as good as Fisher Harris, but Fisher Harris has been
yeah,
really good as well. Or,
yeah.
Kate, well, like it's been so good to see, bro. And as a team, we've really come together and we've really gelled. And that's what I love about our side at the moment.
Yeah, it's more well balanced, and the performance is showing that points are coming from everywhere. And I think it's similar comparisons to people that talk about basketball being a team sport where you find the open man and on any given night can be anyone that has a great game if they're playing as a team. If they're passing the ball around and getting an open shot, it's kind of that vibe as well with the Warriors where you're not seeing clear patterns of going to the right every time,
Yeah.
or going to the left every time. It's like we'll try and figure out as a team how we're going to break this team down. So I think it's much more balanced.
Well, if you want to have fun with this too, bro, as you just said before, like what was our better attacking edge you believe against the Manly Seagulls?
Well, it was right edge, wasn't it?
Yep. And then, like, think of the Roosters game. Our points came from probably both sides of the field, right? Ali Leotar probably stood out number one on our right side. In
Yeah,
this game, I felt like our left side really, had a lot of good ability as well. And Leka obviously scoring the try down the right side. Like, we're so much more balanced in areas of where we're going to attack. Like, sometimes it does feel like the right side maybe goes cold, we're going to go left. But, there is times where we've seen Ali Leotar just absolutely brain it. And when we talk about those games as well, like, when I think of Manly Seagulls, I think of Metcalf's performance. So I think of, just like, I can bring up those names, but then I think the Roosters game, Ali Leotar stepped up. He had a game breaking performance. saw this game, Leka had a game-breaking performance. Like, just different names are poking their heads out and saying they're going to take over the game instead of everyone looking at Adam Fanor-Blake and be like, what are you going to do? Are you going to pick it up? Are you going to do it for us? Everyone's doing it for each other.
We said that too, that had to be the weight of responsibility had to be on everyone. And it's great because you're seeing tries now that you don't typically see or haven't seen before. And you got like a long-range try with Leka scoring. You got that try that Metcalf got working through the ruck. You got some tries on the edge. You got try even like last week where CHT got a bomb put up for him and he scored. Like those are good types of tries too. Like I don't think tries should always come from set plays. You know,
no,
I'm a big like off the cuff try scoring type guy. If you can like Pompey's try was great too. I appreciate points coming from everywhere. Instead of knowing, okay, we're going to build our set and go right here. And sometimes it can be unstoppable, but at the same time, it's like teams start to gear towards your favored side. And so I think it's a lot more balanced this year.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. Most improved, and I know this is early days. Is there anyone that you're thinking that's kind of maybe most improved, but maybe the better word is like improving? Could it be the young guys? Is it one of the older guys? Is it where would you? It could be a group of players. It could be the halves. It could be anything. What's your thoughts on kind of most improved that kind of thing?
It's again, this one's a tough one in a way. Like I think that the first couple of names that came off the top of my head was Jackson Ford, probably, but that was more of like I guess probably everyone else's thoughts on Jackson Ford. But I think that he's improved in his areas of like cleaning up a little bit of his game with his errors and stuff. And I think that helps him when he goes to the middle. He doesn't have to worry about those sort of things. But here's the first name that popped to my head where I believe like the fan base's view on Jackson Ford got tainted after 2024. Where 2023 had an incredible year, right? And we saw him on the edge. He had a lot of big moments in that. Where 2024 was probably error-riddled, stuff like that. I think that he stepped up and had an incredible start to this year. In the game in general, the other night, shout out to Ed Gossey. Like,
we love.
Oh man, it feels so good to see him have that performance. I know that we can be a bit stink on him sometimes, where he has his error-riddled games, but these are one of his diamond games. Again, I wouldn't say he's most improved because you never know. Next week it could turn out with something else. But I got to give him credit where credit's due. He was incredible this week, and very very happy for him as well. And just on the overarching part of the club, I think Bunty Afoa, like just his fitness and his preseason and what he's done, New South Wales Cup, he's been really, really solid there too. Coming into this game, I thought he had some really nice moments coming off the bench as well. So shout out to Bunty Afoa and what he's done in the offseason. I feel like he's trimmed down a lot and he's done a really good job. But I think number one name for me is Jackson Ford after last season.
Yeah, that's actually a really good shout. I know everyone in the thing is saying Ford, and it's great to see him kind of have that progression and just improvement. I just want to just check this out to you. Aaron Clark, has he improved from his Titans performances, or was that because of the Titans system and he played a different role? Because he seemed to have just hit the ground running here. Do you credit that to Webby, or was he always this type of player? And because I had that question last night, and I said I haven't really watched much Titan stuff, but I'll ask Ash because Ash will know. What do you think has been Aaron doing so well? Is it compared to? Does it carry over from the Titans' career as well?
Yeah, I think that it's a bit of both, right? I think that with the Titans, he never really had he never really got trusted with the position that he's been trusted with what we have now. So he's shining under that position. So I feel like we've helped him in that area where we've given him such a big role. He stepped up to the plate. But he's shown this at the Titans as well. Like, a lot of people that watch Titans games and that, he's got a beautiful, quick play to ball. Like, he's aggressive. He gets up with really good line speed. Like, he does very similar things to what we used to say about Jazz Tavanga, all the little things he does in his game. But he has probably a little bit more, I'd say at the moment, probably added a little bit more strings to his bow than what Jazz probably had, when we had Jazz. So I think that he's always had this. I think he's finally had a coach that has just gone, brother, like we trust you as our 13, go out there and play it out. But I can't just say that like he was never this guy, because he showed glimpses of being this guy with the Gold Coast Titans. I just never thought he got trusted with it. They played him in the 9 jersey at times. They played him off the bench in a front row position. Like they've mucked around with him in his career. But now coming to us, where he's had a bit more of a settled spot, I think he's finally showing the ability that he does have. So I wouldn't say that he never had this before, because he has showed glimpses of it. But I think now we're giving him a consistent role. He's living up to what he believes. Like he's showing everyone what he is.
Hey, forever. Yeah, we're going to talk CNK and Team soon, guys. I know I've been starring some of the chats, the questions in the background. So we're going to get to that too. And we're going to get to the big reveal. We've got some info. Nah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. No, we actually do. We know exactly who it is. It's April Fools, you know what I mean?
Nathan Cleary's coming back. No.
Yeah, Cleary, guys, you can announce it right now that Cleary is coming back in 2020. Yeah. But we'll get to this forever. No worries. We will, bro. I'm just saving it up. The young guys' progression, just quickly on them, is it where you thought it would be? And I context-wise too, is that we thought that these guys should have been given opportunities last year. Now we're starting to see that those three, Ali, Dimitrik, and Leka, are now starting to get their moment. Is the progression ahead of what you expected, or is it just right where they are is actually how they should be going right now?
I think it's a bit of both. Like they've showed moments where they are ahead of schedule in a way. But like I love that how Webby's kind of really easing them in, and they're starting to get a little bit more minutes over time. They're getting themselves into really good positions. Like Webby, when we started the season, everyone was complaining that Dimitri Vaimonga and all that late in the game, he got shit minutes, right? Like, the 19 minutes at the end of the game where he couldn't really do anything, right? But now we're starting to see he's starting to get a more of a game role mid-game in the crunch time. And he's trusting him with those minutes, and he's learning a lot of things. And I think that with Ali's development, I think he's definitely ahead of his schedule. People are starting to see like the ability that he has, and he's incredible. I feel like that he's very safe and sturdy in that center position, and I've really enjoyed a lot of his game this year. Not just the game-breaking ability, but more of the stableness that he had. Like he had that when he first came to grey, but we saw last year with some opportunities that he still needed to clean up in a couple of areas. I think he has done that this year. And Leka for me, like as much as I say that he's incredible, I expected him to be freakish, all this sort of stuff. You don't ever expect a 19-year-old or an 18-year-old to get into first grade in your first 2 or 3 games. Everyone's looking at you going, "Oh my God, you're an absolute freak." So he definitely is a little bit ahead of schedule in that area. But I would say he's still coming off the bench. He still have put in moments where he's not having the big starting role or anything like that just yet. So that will come in time. So I think they're all going at their own pace, and they're all on plan. We'll call it that. There's some up, some down, but they're all going on the right track.
Well, eh?
Yep.
Well, this is a good question from Jared. How do you like the dynamic of CHT and Metcalf? I like seeing CHT take some of the load off Metcalf so they can jump in with the strengths. Yeah, I think we've been big on this. I've always talked about the kicking element, taking some of that pressure off of CHT, and me and Ash, we like them, and that's coming from a person that was a big advocate for TMM. I like what this combo is doing, and I can't fault them. So full credit to them. Any quick thoughts on those two and their development?
No, pretty much echoing exactly what you said, bro. I'm really liking the dynamics of what those guys both bring. We know what Metcalf can bring if he lets go and with his speed and stuff, but I've really enjoyed his game control. And then CHT, CHT he just competes on everything. So he seems to be the perfect guy to put next to Metcalf in a way of, to where if anything breaks down, CHT is just going to compete at the end minute, and he's defensively just so sound. So I've been really enjoying their combination. I think it will grow more and more over the season. I think people just need to be a little bit more patient because we are building the fundamentals first. But once these boys start to really find themselves and get comfortable, that's when you'll start seeing their running game probably take over a little bit more. We've seen moments of it, but we'll see it more consistently when they get comfortable and they have a good cohesiveness in that spine.
This is quite a strong statement, but letting the team down, maybe we'll just redirect to who's maybe not performing the best at the moment. If you're taking their total 4 games, I know you could probably say Marata has actually had little moments of improvement, as well as some letdowns and others. But anyone that you kind of standing out over the totality of those 4 games that is like concerning you a little bit with their performances, or you know, you're a little bit worried moving forward how they're gonna hold up or how they're gonna do for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I still got a spotlight on both our edge back rollers. Like Cody Capewell, for all that he's done, like all the little things that he does, like he pops up when we rewatch the tape, right? You probably notice it too, especially in defensive scramble moments. You'll start to notice when you rewatch a game without emotion that you start to go, oh, Capewell was here in that moment. That's what he does very well. So his game, you can't really see it the first time. But I still think there's a little added parts that Capewell probably needs to fix up on or get better at, obviously, to make our team probably play a little bit better and probably free up a little bit of space on that edge, especially, you know, running those lines. Maybe we could really work with him a little bit better. The other one's Maratini Akure. For such a big body, such an intimidating frame, he's shown, like, obviously against the West Tigers, he's got the ability to change on his line that last minute, but I want to see more out of him. Like, being such a big member of our side, you know, he's paid decent money and stuff like that. I still want to see a little bit more out of him. So I feel a bit, like, obviously it's a little bit harsh, but again, I said this at the start of the season after the Raiders game that I think it really put a spotlight on both our edge back rollers at the moment. And we've got these 2 young kids of Leka Lasima and Jacob Laban that everyone's really waiting for. So both these guys just need to continue to up their game and, you know, just continue to grow. But those are the 2 guys I'm really spotlighting at the moment. Everyone else is really kind of sitting where I kind of expected them to be and performing quite well, in my opinion.
Yeah, Waitangi has let the team down. For those that know the chat last night, just you'll make sense of it once you break it down. Definitely let the team down. No, good stuff. Look, guys, we'll keep that moving. I think you're bang on about the back rowers, and it's nice to have that balance of Leka though come on and kind of give it just that extra, you know, and give Marata that break. But to be fair to Capewell as well, I haven't been noticing him, which is also a good sign too. Like that he's just doing his job, doing his work. So I can't fault. Next one is who will win a starting spot? Like who is that? I know you even made a bold prediction that Leka would be starting by round 12, or I'm not sure if are you still on course with that prediction, or is there anyone else that's kind of grown leaps and bounds over the person you think it may be?
At the moment, I'm still going to stick on the Leka train. I think that with his performances, he's continuing to grow in a lot of areas. You know, after his first performance in Vegas, I think he got 21 minutes or so. He got better minutes out of the 2 young boys there with Vaimwanga. He's grown now into a 30-minute back row off the bench.
Yeah.
I kind of like, I'm sitting with myself and going like, do we lose a little bit just like, you know, not having him come off the bench and really impact games in that sort of sense? But I think there will be a time, like in my head, the way I kind of envision things to go, it will be a time where we've tinkered with Maratza playing through the middle, and there will be a little bit more of an interchange of Leka coming to an edge, playing a little bit longer minutes on an edge, and Maratza playing a bit more through the middle to really have that oomph through the middle, if that makes sense. So I think that he's still my spotlight for the guy to take a starting spot in the future. Another smoky there, I think Jacob Laban, if he gets an opportunity sometime soon, the way he's playing in Carp, he's more of a longer minute type of back rower to where like he'll probably more likely get a starting role where Leka stays off the bench and be more of an impact type player. So yeah, those are the 2 guys I'm thinking of.
It's funny. I know a lot of people talk about Capewell and his blocking the pathways, but I think Capewell has understood the assignment when he's actually said, no, I'm here just to hold place. To bring these guys in when they're ready. I think he's kind of really accepted that as his part of his Agar probably is the most one let cause you bang on. Agar has he has let us down a bit, the old Agar.
Good old Rich. He wouldn't have been at this game too, right? His suspension and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, man. Let's check it now to Stats with Ash, guys. It is finally back. And Ash has got some good stuff for us, guys. So while you're listening, keep in mind what he's sharing and hit that like and subscribe as well. I'll chuck it over to you, Ash, with some of the latest stats that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, obviously really exciting. There's a lot of positivity around the club at the moment with the 3 wins, 1 loss, starting the season with a bang. And that 1 loss as a Raiders side that was very high and mighty. We saw them take over the Broncos after our week as well. So it showed that it wasn't, there is obviously reasons for it. We were very poor in that game, but still want to touch on a lot of the good things that we've been doing for the season and how we've kind of grown that area. So we've been touching on our attack and defense coming to this year. We definitely want upticks in those areas, right? So starting with the attack, at the moment, if we take our 4 full games, we're actually scoring at 21 points per game on the dot, which is okay. We actually scored at this rate, the similar rate in 2023, crazily, in our best attacking year. Everyone says this is the reason why we got top 4 that year, where our defense was incredible too, but no one talks about that. 21 points per game is solid. We do want to lift that mark. But if you take the last 3 games, and people got to remember too, we played Manly in that first game. We played the Roosters, which they've been looking pretty dire a little bit at the moment. They're very hot and cold. And we got the Tigers that have been on fire coming to this one. We scored 25.6 points per game. So that's actually at a top 4 average. So the last 3 games, we've definitely stepped up since Vegas. 25.6 points per game is very, very good. And we need to really hold that average, I believe. That's, obviously adding the Manly game that we blew them out. Now moving on, defense. I think this is where I'm really we're both very much we need to fix up the defense, right? This is our system. That's the way we work. Right now, we're conceding 19 points per game, and that's adding in the Vegas. That's the 4 games, right? So at the moment, that is 6th in the league, which is we're a top 6 defense right now. I think the best defense currently right now after the weekend was actually the Dogs from memory. I think the Dogs are just overtaken the Tigers after the performance what we had over the weekend. So shout out to the Dogs, and they're continuing that form. But if we take away that first game of Vegas and we just did our last 3 games, we've only conceded 15.3 points per game. And that's a top 3 side in the competition at the moment. So that's actually very similar to what the Dogs are actually conceding right now and being the best in the competition. So that's very, very positive as well. If we continue on this track of what we've been doing in the last 3 games, very positive. And people are going to remember as well, we versed the Tigers that came in red hot. They've just beat the Dolphins 30 points to 18 the weekend before. They blew out, who else they blew out the week before that? They had a couple of really good performances, right? And we blew out Manly, which, Manly are a very high velocity attacking side. Tom Trebojevic, people remember that. We conceded 15.3 points per game within that last 3 game average. So that's a very, very positive stat there as well. Both those things we are fixing up. We're continuing to fix up. But that's a really, really positive sign off of last year where we conceded at 21 points per game. So that's a considerable drop in that area. Last things I want to touch on, just a little bit more glazing our boys after the weekend. A lot of things people aren't really talking about, but we're doing all the stuff still. As Webby continues to say, we want to keep all the stuff that we're doing very well. But we want to add and fix up all the other stuff that we're doing right. And we've got to be mindful that when we start adding those things, we don't take away what we do well. We're the best run meterage team in the competition right now, sitting on top of the competition. Yep. So 7,295 run meters. That's NRL.com stats. Fox League haven't updated their stats. I like their stats better, but that's where we're sitting. And on a per game average, we're 1,824 meters per game. So that's, again, top of the competition. Amazing stuff there from the boys. And while adding that, we are the best side in the competition for post meterage. So when we hit the line, we go through the line as well. So 2,544 on overall, and per game 636, which is top of the competition. So all the questions on when Adam Fanor-Blake leaves, he's going to take a lot of meterage away from us. We've seen to replace those meterage very well, and we're still dominating sides in that stat. Like I touched on the West Tigers game over the weekend. A lot of people saying that obviously the West Tigers should have won that game. I've heard a lot of those rumors, but when you look at the stats, they lent towards our side more so than not. We outran them by close to 20 meters per set. So that's a major uptick in that area. And last of all, another thing we do well, and we're holding that standard as well, we're the best completion rate in the competition right now at 85% per game. So the next best side is at 82%. We're 3 percentile higher than the next best side, which is incredible. So We need to hold that high standard, continue to work on the things that we've been working on, but we've laid an incredible base for our season. So that's such a good sign. There's so many other things we can touch on, but we'll do a bit more of a deep dive later on in the season when I get a little bit more of an eye of where we're sitting. And we go against Melbourne Storm, after this bye weekend, and I'm sure that we can really see where we're sitting in the competition, as in if we can make a top 8 sort of position this year, which I think a lot of people are looking at, probably best case scenario, getting into a top 8 position.
Yeah, we've been big on that. We never felt that the Eaters would be lost because of AFB. And in fact, they've probably gone up because of Aaron Clark's been one for sure.
Agreed.
Fish in his own way, like Fish's style is kind of, I find, like he hits, then he drops, then he plays the ball, and it kind of immediately generates. Because if you really think about it, when you're going for a tackle, and the tackle was made, and then you get up and play the ball, that process of the tackle happening, people are resetting the defensive line 10 meters. So if you can actually speed that process up, you're actually gaining an advantage in a way too, as opposed to being like a guy that carries, how AFB kind of took guys 10 to 12 meters, and then Fish is kind of doing it. He's going to take 5 or 6 meters, and then but the play the ball is going to be quick so that you can get at the defensive line still. It's kind of a, you know what I mean? It's that mathematics of 1 + 1 = 2, but you can calculate in different ways, I feel. So
it's exactly what you say. Like, we're kind of like, instead of just having a spearhead, we've got just a whole bunch of guys that have just lifted their output in those areas. And we're as a team, continuing to say what we touched on before, as a team, we're fixing up a lot of those issues, and we're working together as a side to get down the opposite end of the field and do what we do well. Like, I was just about to, my computer's gone spacko for a second there on my opposite side, but I was just about to check on the stats of our run meterage on players per season. From memory, we don't have a player in the top 10 for run meterage other than maybe CNK, I'm guessing. But everyone else on the back end of that, like, we've got players skittled everywhere within our top 50, which is showing that as a team, we're lifting in that area, and that's a real positive sign.
Hey, just quickly, Norpeter, you can sign up by going, you have to do it on a desktop though, man. If you go to our page, there should be a join button, and then that gives you the options if you want to be reserve grader or first grader. With reserve grader, you can jump in on our members' nights and be part of the chat, and we kind of really focus in on your questions. First grader is where you can join in the WhatsApp chat where me and Ash chuck in our thoughts as well, and you get to meet all the other first graders and hang out and those types of things. So, but up to you, man, how you want to join. But yeah, and I saw Peace as well. Peace, if you want to join the WhatsApp group, you have to be the first grader. Then once you join the first grader, we'll let you in. But yeah, just thought I'd let that happen before it gets too late and people get frustrated. Just want to chuck this one back at Team Mackie. I saw stats showing that we get burned on the edges way too much. I actually think that we've talked about defensive systems. Remember, Jordan Predator was talking about, each coach has his ways of defending edges. Teams may get on the outside of us, but I think we've done pretty good at diffusing those kind of. They may technically get a line break, I think, but we shut them down as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not leading necessarily to pure tries. But the system I still is working. But what could you say on that if that was true? What Team Mackie's saying?
Yeah, I think that, like, again, we have a system that predicates on allowing sides to try and shift on us. We are susceptible to, 3-on-2, stuff like that, because we defend from our inside. If you watch the Doggies week in, week out, they do a very similar thing, and it's similar to, I think, Webby's taken Serrato's system from the Penrith system, stuff like that, and how they defend, right? If you watch Critter's side, it's probably the best way to really tell. You watch Critter, he always defends from the inside out, and that's what causes Blake Wilson sometimes to get caught out of position, and he has to dart in, and they get beat on that edge more times than not, and that's the best defensive edge in the competition, right? Critter is so good at that area, but they believe that they want teams to shift and really make the big play on the outside of us, more of a tunnel ball to create errors. More times than not, we probably will get beaten certain times, but if our cover defense fixes up in those areas, it's a lot better than having a lot of big spacing in the middle, where teams can really plug holes in the middle of us, quick play to ball speed. That's where momentum kills us in general. So we'd rather be real close, compact, go up with speed and hold teams in and allow them to go sideways, because momentum-wise, if they get a lot of momentum in the middle, it's a real tough thing to stop in rugby league at the moment. Momentum's a massive thing. So that's the reason why they defend the way they do. They allow teams to try attack on their edges because it's a bit more of a risky play. It's the reason why, you know, top attacking sides are very up and down. They're very risky. Where defensive sides that just go through systems and continue to play out, they're a lot more consistent over the year. So that's really why we play defense the way we do.
Team Mackie, we are going to do something with Jordan Pereira in the next few weeks. I'm just a bit busy right now in these next 2 weeks, but pretty much maybe around the Anzac game, I'll try to get Jordan on and we can break that down even further.
That'll be awesome.
It's good to get, because he talked about some coaches love the negative defense where you sag and you give them that space, but sometimes you give up almost 30 meters and then, you know, you defend it, but, you know, it still has its costs as well, ultimately.
100%.
But really, really good question, man. T Mackie, you always got bang on questions there, man. Look, bro, let's amazing stats there, bro. And that's refreshing and comforting for us as fans to know that defense is tightening up. I want to just quickly go on to last year. It was like one set and they scored. Do you feel we've improved that goal line defense, or has it been tested enough, do you think, to warrant saying that, no, we've definitely improved on goal line defense?
I think we've improved in that area. They're still susceptible. We're still susceptible in that time because the way, again, going back to our defense system, the way we defend is we want to trap teams down the opposite end of the field, right? And we put a lot of effort into field position battle. So when teams get that penalty, that relieving of pressure, all the work that we did to hold teams down the opposite end, when they finally get the time down our end, we may not have the same energy or ability in that sort of area. But there's been a lot of times where I felt like we've repelled sides off of our try line. The Roosters we had a really solid game in that one where it kind of went 50-50 in a way. There was a lot of set restarts and stuff with the Tigers game and that, where we defended the back-to-back sets and stuff. But there's still susceptibility. Like the Fanua Bolle try came off of, I think, a couple of set restarts and they cracked through pretty early on.
Yeah.
The Roosters game where we defended down out the opposite end, then they got to our end and cracked us first time overall. But that's just the way it goes. I think we've improved in those areas still, but there still can be a little bit more improvement.
For sure. Hey, thank you, Mark, for joining us, man. We welcome you in, and whatever level you're at, we appreciate you coming through and becoming a YouTube member. Our YouTube member program has grown tons. We just invited one of our mates into the first grade chat. He's a fan from Chicago. So we've got a guy in there from Chicago. We've got people from all over the globe joining the Wires Nation, joining Wires Up TV. So, but guys, anyway, hit that like and subscribe. Look, man, I think people are dying to hear about the rumors. We're going to hit this one first. Then we'll get to the big reveal. We've got something for you. That's why we've kept it till last, to keep you guys in suspense. If we told you at the start, you guys would be out of here right now. But look, let's hit the CNK one, which does sound quite substantial. TMM is sounding quite substantial. What do you make of this news? And if it does happen, do you think it's the right time to let go of these guys? Is that a sign that we are in the rebuild phase? And is it okay to let these guys go? Do they deserve a new contract? All those things, man. What's your thoughts on these two specifically?
Yeah, with all the rumors going around at the moment, there's a lot going on at the moment with the Warriors that I'm hearing in the background, and it's kind of like trying to piece together, what is right, what is wrong, what's true, what's not. I think the CNK and the Tamati Martin stuff is pretty much nearly locked in stone or set in stone. I know a lot of big sources. Warriorholic, obviously, if he'll come out and say a name if he knows it's pretty set in stone or he knows what is solid. Karianis has actually come out and said it, and usually journalists, when they say stuff like that, they're pretty rock solid if they put a name out there and they say this is what's going to happen. So I think that those two things, CNK moving on, Tamati Martin moving on, pretty set in stone. And I'm kind of okay with that. I think that we've kind of discussed this before, and you know how much I love CNK, and I think he's really underrated for our side and that. But I've even discussed with you that I do think there's going to be a time this year that Tane Chua-Piki will take over that fullback role towards the end of the season, maybe, or he will get that role.
Yep.
Obviously, he's our future, and it makes more sense that CNK is what, 30, he's in 31?
31
he's in
year.
30. He's around that range, right? He's definitely not getting any younger, and we are looking towards a more of a future as we've seen from this year. So I am very positive in that move. I do think we'll lose a little bit with CNK, but we gain a little bit with Tane as well. There's things that Tane can do that I think that he does better than CNK, and I still think there's stuff that CNK does that better than what Tane does at the moment, but Tane will grow over all in time. Tamade Martin is a little bit more of a one that I think a lot of people are real worried about because they're loving what he's doing in Cup at the moment. Everyone wanted him, preferred him as the sixer this year. I even came out to start the season. I preferred him in the 6 jersey, but I'm really enjoying what our halves are doing at the moment. And I think that with Tamade, and how much I love of him and all that, I want him to go, if he goes to the Super League, he'll absolutely brain it. He'll absolutely kill it. I think he'll be amazing over there. And I continue to say very similar things with CNK is Tamade Martin's at the age of 30, right? He's around about that age. Similar to Dylan Walker being up in that age as well. We know the injury history of Tamade Martin. We know what he's been through in his career. He came off a broken leg in 2023, right? So he will, like for me at the moment, moving him on and having those younger kids come up and take those spots, we're looking to the future. To me, it doesn't. It sucks because I love Tamade, but like it also is just like it's gonna have to come. I think that over time that will fill in those spots. Looking at Luke Hansen taking a bigger role in Cup again, he'll probably step up in the place of Tamade Martin. Jet Cleary's had a decent game in Flag over the weekend. That we're very excited for him. We're signing apparently Newcastle Knight 6. That looks really nice as well. I think that in general, we're just moving towards the future. And unfortunately, these guys that we're talking about here, they're either in their prime, later into their prime now, and they all kind of fall off the edge of the cliff a little bit later on in their career. And we don't really want to be holding on to those boys at that point. And that sucks to say right now, but I think that's definitely the truth.
Block Kid, my man, if you continue on, my bro, I will get one of my mods to boot you out, okay? Please be sensible. Now let's go to the big news, man. Who was the big reveal? Ash, can you tell us?
It's Nathan Cleary.
No. It's Nathan Cleary, everyone. Yeah.
Nah.
No, look, not too sure what. I know there's been a lot of conjecture, and April Fool's being what it is, it also adds in that. That kind of, is this real? Is this not? A lot of talk around it. You talked about Warriorholic being kind of like, having that knowledge. So what's your thoughts? What is your thoughts around, is this real? Is this not? Do we need to be patient? Who is it? Who could it be? That type of thing. You know what I mean?
We need to be patient. I think that I've seen a lot of names in comment sections and stuff that have been thrown up. Selwyn Cobbo, a lot of people saying they've spotted Selwyn Cobbo go to New Zealand, talking in chats and stuff like that. I've seen Caleb Ponga as well. Obviously, Caleb Ponga has been a lot of chat with New Zealand Rugby. There's a lot of thoughts of whether New Zealand Rugby will pick him up. But there's also food for thought that Kalen wants to become more closer to his Māori side. There's also been a lot of rumours that him and Stacey have spoken about him jumping over to the Kiwis. And Stacey Jones obviously being our assistant coach. So there's always going to be rumours around that area. I think with the rumours just right now, as Warriorholic said, he didn't put a name out there, but there is a name being floated around that I will not chuck out there. Maybe in one of the couple of names that I spotted out there, but there's still a lot of things to play out, I'm guessing, by the sounds of it. We've made a formal offer from what I've heard, and that first offer got rejected, and then we're going in again for it. So it's going to be a decent sum, but very, very excited if it does happen. But there's also some negatives towards it. But again, guys, with all this rumors, all this news, it's around April Fool's time as well. So there's a lot of thoughts of whether someone's getting their leg pulled a little bit. I'm not too sure. But from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of like concrete to some rumors out there. So get excited to see how things play out in the future. But even I think was it David Riccio came out on X and said Warriors fans settle down. There's no big move just yet. But then under it, he said, like, but I didn't say anything about the future. So there's something going around at the moment. We'll have to wait and see. And guys get excited. Still speculate everything that's going on.
So with someone, let's
give us some other names. We got Keanu Keeney, right? As I said, Selwyn Cobbo, Kalen Ponga, Jerome Hughes. Like, let's put those names up there. What, you know?
Let's talk. Someone, for example, our man Levon James is put in the super chat. He wants to highlight Selwyn Ponga and Nathan Hughes. I love that. I love those names right there.
I love those names.
Let's start with Ponga, just theoretically. What would be, and any of those guys, I imagine, would be looking for that $1 million price tag to come over, unless it's a pure homegrown. And actually, shout out Levon, bro, for the $4. Appreciate that, bro. Thank you very much. But you're going on what he's saying. Out of those four, there's Selwyn, there's Ponga, there's Nathan, there's Hughes. The price tag will have to be in there, $1 million, 1.5. We've talked big about not overspending, not overstretching. What do we make of, the club going and putting a 1.5 on the table for Kalen Ponga or something like that? Does that break our wage structure? I've been talking about that guy from Penrith who has his wage structure for each position, and he only breaks it if he knows it's worth it. You know what I mean? He's going to put the money in for Nathan Cleary. He's going to put the $1 million down for Isaiah Yeo. We will be clearly breaking the wage structure if we got a Ponga for 1.5 or 1.7. Would be one of the biggest signings in our club's history and NRL history. Is that really the way we should be going? And in the chat, true as well, guys. Do you think that's worth? Is that where we should be going as a club? Putting down 1.5, 1.7, or $1 million minimum for a star marquee player like a Kalen Ponga?
Yeah, this is the whole thing of it, right? And you guys, if you've been consistent viewers of Wise Up TV, you know where our heads are at and where we want the club to be going. And what the club has entailed for the last 3 years now is that they want to be more focused into our development. We've brought over a lot of experienced players to hold out our development pieces, so when they come in ready, they'll come in ready and hot, like Leka has, stuff like that. So doing this is very similar to, I had a chat with Brody about DCE and whether the Dogs were going for DCE. And I was like, the positive is would Phil Gould see this as all right, we're right there for a premiership. He's going to be the guy to tip over the edge, but he's going to negate all the work that they've done with Toby Sexton, Mitchell Woods, and throw that out of the water just for now, just to go for one premiership? Or is he going to go more of the longer route? And the Dogs obviously came out and said they'll choose the longer route of sticking with Toby Sexton and just growing and over time picking up pieces and getting better like that. I prefer that way. It just have to be a massive name. And then the price does worry me where it's going to throw a lot of our cap out of whack if it is going to be a decent sum from what I'm hearing. That worries me in a little bit of areas. So there's positives to it. Like if any of those names come over to the club, like Jerome Hughes, Kalen Ponga, players like that, right? Like incredible for the club. I'm sure more players would take unders to play with them for longer. So that could work out in the future. But also you could look at it as like maybe some, we could unsettle some pieces we have right now, like Tane Tuapiki, if it is a fullback coming to our club as rumored, like maybe he's going to be like, oh, there goes my spot for the next coming years as well, right? Like, and I feel for him in that area because he's learnt through us, he's developed through us, and he's been incredible. So yeah, there's two different ways to think of it. I'm still very conflicted. I see the positive in it, especially with the names I'm hearing. I'm going, bro, could put us into some really top opposition, top four, stuff like that. But again, like for the long-term play, with certain players that we're talking about, they have injury records, they have head knock issues, they have broken issues, right? There's worries, man. There's still worries there.
Just being devil's advocate, just even scenario based, would you take Ponga for 2 years, 1.5? And saying we had the cap and we still got a bit of wiggle room to upgrade contracts and even go in the market for mid to low tier contracts, would you do it just on the chance that you got Fish there, bro? You got Barnett, you got Fish for you've got Metcalf that could explode with a Ponga.
Mm-hmm.
You got Dallin on his last run. You got the young pups, and you got the forwards and the Catewell. Just that little. He could be the piece to just get this team into a prelim or even a grand final. Not saying maybe win it.
Yep.
Would you take it for that 1 or 2 year contract, mercenary style? You know what I mean?
I think that
Kawhi Leonard style, Kawhi Leonard type. You know what I mean? With Raptors.
Yeah. that price tag for me, after Dylan Brown's price tag, it just shut up the market right now. So the market is a bit everywhere. I had a discussion with a good mate of mine, Lockie, about whether KP would be worth that sort of money, right? Like 1.6s and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I think he's definitely worth it in the market of if Dylan Brown's worth 1.3s, 1.4s, and let's say the Cleary comes off on the market and he's probably goes for like 1.8s. I think that KP is worth around that 1.5 for 2 years. And he's still he's in his prime right now. He's dragging that Newcastle Knights team in moments as well. Like, he shows that he has ability. I would take him on the 1.5 for 2 years. I think that's a really juicy talk, right? But when we're talking like certain players, or it's like, maybe if it's up to 1.8s, that's where it started to be a little bit more of a dicey situation, right? Like, we're going 1.8s for a guy that hopefully stays on a football field. Like, if we're talking Kalen Ponga, head knocks, right? He's had that for his career. Like, things can change so quickly in rugby league. And this is what I mean. When you have a set plan, you continue on that set plan, you're going to have a consistent basis, but we're growing over time. If you throw it all out of the water, you get this guy, has head knocks, everything goes out from underneath you. You don't have a base anymore. You're just relying on that again. So, yeah, that's the thing. Is I think he's worth 1.6 for 2, but if we're looking 1.8, that's where I start looking and go, that's a bit much.
If it's mercenary style 2 years, I'd take it, bro. I'd straight up take it just to see it. And if it didn't mean that you lost players, like if it didn't lose core players, you couldn't top up contracts that were for the middles. The middles is everything for me. Actually, Luke has got a good question. I see what you mean, Ash. Pros and cons. How about this? Would you rather Hughes and lose Metcalf, or Ponga and lose Tane? Something to consider.
That's a tough one.
Luke's got you in a bind here, man. That's it.
That's a
tough
question.
It's a tough one, yeah.
Out of the two, I would probably go, I'll take Ponga and lose Tane, but I hate that still too. Like, I think with Jerome, he is later in his career now, I think. He's had probably his best year that we've seen. Maybe he can back it up this year, right? But I think out of those two options, I would go with the second, get Ponga, and unfortunately lose Tane to keep Metcalf and see him play off the back of what Kalen Ponga can produce. I reckon that would be fairly interesting.
Yeah. No, man, it's all good chat, guys, and it's, again, speculative. But it's great. It's great stuff, and we can't confirm anything, but we can only speculate. But it's good to talk scenarios, because if you wake up one morning and you see a post from the Warriors and it's a Kalen Ponga, look, we're gonna have to do an emergency stream like that morning. I might have to let go of work. I might have to quit work for that day. I might have to do a sickie and just do an all-day stream discussing Ponga. But it's good to talk about it now, because look, the club. Let's be honest. The club has lost Walker. It's lost Tohu to retirement. There's cap space there. How they approach it is going to be massive, and will tell you a lot about what their ambition is. And in Premier League football, they always talk about ambition. How, or in any sport, what is your ambitions to win? How bad do you want to win, and how bad are you willing to risk it all?
Exactly,
to get a win. If it's only there, I mean, us as Warriors fans, a mercenary Ponga for 2 years gets us a premiership, bro. We put a statue outside for Ponga, even though he played 2 years straight up. You know what I mean?
I'll give it to you, Kiwi fans, bro. I'll take it to a whole new level, because if Ponga was to come to New Zealand Warriors, and if he was able to jump out and jump into the Kiwis jersey at fullback, that would be huge, right? It'd be huge. It'd be huge. So, like, that's the thing is like with KP, it could be bigger than just the Warriors. It could be the Kiwis. It could be so much more, right? And like for Kiwi fans out there, would you rather have KP in your number one jersey or Keanu Kini? That's exactly the same question as probably the Warriors with Taincho Apiki, right?
I take Ponga. Yeah.
Right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Right now. Yeah.
So I think that this could be big, but then again, guys, as I said, we haven't said anyone set in stone just yet. Again, could be it could be Dylan Brown could be jumping out of that Newcastle Knight contract. Who knows? Could be Kieran Foran.
Straight into compassion. Yeah.
Could be Kieran Foran again.
Nah, man.
Sam Tompkins.
It's all good chat. Roaming. Sorry. Is Joey Manu? I haven't heard anything Joe Manu. I think he's adamant on doing his rugby thing. I think that's pretty. Yeah.
From all the rumors with Joey Manu, if he was ever to come back to rugby league, it's a Roosters jersey straight away. So I couldn't see him come back in a Warriors jersey, unfortunately.
The other big thing too is that whoever it is, they've really got to buy in with Webby and his philosophy, eh? What I found interesting with the Reece Walsh era was that we accommodated a lot for Reece.
Yeah.
And remember Roger went to the wing, but it was all about Reece creating the structure for him. Not to say Ponga's that type of player. I think Ponga can adapt to anything. Like I don't have any issue with the Ponga or say if it's a Hughes. I think they're all very adaptable. But with such a high profile player, would you have to change your system to suit that player? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stars are stars, and you do adapt to fit the stars. You know what I mean? If it was whoever it was.
I think in a way, like Webby, like whether people kind of believe it or not, like Webby, to me, from what I see with the Warriors, and like we've changed our side to accommodate players. Like when we lost Sean Johnson, we put Tamade Martin in. We played a different sort of brand of attacking footy in that period there than what we did with Sean. I'm sure that like Webby seems to me that he loves to get around a group and get the group's input on what they think positive for the side. And then he works around with what's going on, right? When he came to the Warriors, he didn't bring a whole lot of players and change the club from that aspect. He kind of worked with the players that he had, and he put his system into place, and the boys play into the system, but he also changes things for certain type of players, right? He had to change things. Obviously, Adam Fennell-Blake's not at our club at the moment. We don't see a front rower running those same sort of lines as Adam Fennell-Blake this year. We're not running him on an edge. We're not running Fisher Harris in that sort of area because they're two different players. So I think that he would accommodate a KP, a Jerome Hughes, a Selwyn Cobbo, those sort of players. If it was to be one of those players, I think he would accommodate them fairly well. And I think that, could you imagine just Kalen Ponga off the end of some beautiful shape? Beautiful, like that left hand sweep, short side. It would be incredible, but definitely, we'll have to wait and see, guys, because jump in those comment sections. There's a player that gets talked about more times than not, and that's the name I'm hearing. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Look, as Warriors fans, we've been dying for a marquee in his prime, like Fishing away as a marquee in his prime, AFB, but an outside back or fullback of that level or tier. It's just chuck in the chat, or even you, Ash. I'm trying to think who was the last pure marquee Aussie or even Kiwi signing in the backs that we brought over, and that really changed the levels. I'm trying to think, because Sean was a natural, obviously, developed for us. But I'm trying to think of
Jimmy Maloney didn't. Like when he came, he made his career with us.
Yeah, he made his career. I'm trying to think of a guy in their prime like a KP from a halves or backline position,
like a spine member
that really came in like and in their primes.
Yeah,
even Tate Levon was kind of. That was Nick Brace Tate by the time he was still good, but
yeah.
No, actually, Tate was good in that period. Actually, no, I can't. Yeah, Maloney hadn't been. Yeah, but it was like it wasn't a full, pure top of his game signing. I think Tate. I can't remember if he was.
Denenkamp.
Yeah, Bean. That's what I'm saying, guys. Is that if you got a KP, he would be probably one of the in prime best signings ever, and we haven't had that. So us as fans would love to experience that, I would say.
Well, we've got this guy we're talking about with Kalen Ponga, if it was to be him. Daily M Player of the Year a couple of years ago where he took it off Sean, which I still think is the biggest robbery, but played good enough to get a Daily M, but Sean was better. Anyway, but this year, he's definitely in contention for another Daily M. Like he's played some really good footy at the start of the season. His poorest game was against the Titans, but the Newcastle Knights were really poor. Before that, he was like right there at the top of the competition for a Daily M. So we're talking about a guy that he is in his prime right now. He's like Queensland fans would hate to lose him if he does become a Kiwi, but Queensland fans are now obviously going back on not Reece Walsh anymore. They want KP at fullback. Like there's a lot of Queensland fans right now. Like we want Kalen Ponga because he's like in his prime right now. So be interesting.
Anyway, guys, we'll leave that there. Take of it what you can. We just throwing things out there. But guys, it's been a great chat. We'll leave it there for now. And we had 150 people in here. That's the first time we had 150. So, man, massive shout out to everyone logging in, having their piece in the chat's going crazy. Everyone that's become a member tonight, especially Mark, we appreciate you, my man. 150, bro. We love what we do, man, and we really appreciate the support. Ash blinked twice. This isn't some kidnapping, what is it called? Those,
Yeah, I'm trapped, boys. I'm trapped.
He's trapped. Yeah, no, this ain't something crazy like that. People are having a field day in the chat right now. It's absolutely awesome.
They love it.
But yeah, any last words from you, Ash, before we sign off for tonight? And guys, you go, and then I've got stuff to say after.
Overall, guys, I just want to also just continue the positivity. Like everything's going really well. Also understand, guys, after the performances we started, we're not talking about like we're a top 4 side or anything like that at the moment. No. I don't think Warriors fans should start looking at it that way. We're still in a development year. We still want to get just to a top 8 to start off with. If we get better, 100%. But shout out to all our development grades and stuff at the moment, all absolutely killing it. Over the weekend, we did not lose a game for our whole organization. Which is incredible. You drew 2 games, which were, we could have gone either way. We were leading both of those games. Unfortunately, those teams came back on us. But to start the year, our New South Wales Cup team is undefeated. Our first grade squad's only lost 1 game. Our Harold Matt's team has only lost 1 game this year. So we're in a really good position right now as a Warriors organization. And with the women's coming up, I'm really confident in the women's squad coming up as well. So it's such a good time to be a Warriors fan. So guys, get excited. Be happy about your side. And just, get excited for the era we're in right now. Things can change so quickly, but we're doing good things right now in all aspects of the club. So get excited for that.
Yeah, man. No, absolutely, guys. And it's a great time. Just enjoy these weeks where we're 3-1, and it's nice just to relax and we can just watch footy and not think too much about it. And the grades as well. They're doing really well. And yeah, I watched the guy, what his name, the coach of the NRLW. He seems to it, he's 2-time premiership winning coach. So, it's like we've got a Wayne Bennett of equivalent coaching our team. So that's exciting to see. But yeah, man, good news. We'll look forward to whatever news drops. But just quickly, man, I know you got your show tomorrow night and on Thursday night. You just want to quickly share about what's happening on your shows, just with everyone that's here.
Yep, guys, jump over on Ash Thomas on YouTube. The link is in the description down below. Jump over, feel free to like and subscribe, or just come in for a chat. Tomorrow night, me and Brody will be talking about all things rugby league, all teams around the competition. Brody's a Doggies fan, obviously me being a Warriors fan. We'll be touching on all sides, players that we're really enjoying. We started adding segments now of tackle of the week, try of the week, egg of the week, which we're very excited to touch on this week as well. And also on the Thursday night, unfortunately last Thursday, due to a lot of things going on in the background, unable to do a Supercoach show, but we do a Supercoach show every Thursday. So tune in. We just give you our thoughts on what's happening at the moment in the Supercoach, show our sides and our trades for the weekend. And after the weekend that's just happened, Tom Trebojevic going down, there's a lot of trading. There's going to be a lot of different sides in the competition right now. So very excited to see what your trades are this weekend too, guys. And also, feel free to come through and have a laugh with us.
Guys, please go subscribe right now if you haven't already to Ash Thomas on YouTube. Brody and Ash just put massive effort into breaking down all the sides in such detail. And I lean on Ash for all of the NRL knowledge, man. To be honest, I focus mainly on just the Wars, but Ash is really deep diving, guys. So go and support him and the Brody. And on Thursday night, the Super Coach stuff is super fun, man. I'm having a blast. Really enjoying just having fun and enjoying the community side of things. And again, guys, just quickly add, if you do want to become a Wise Up TV member, press the join button on the desktop, and it's great just to have different people's opinions and thoughts and be part of the family. So thanks again, everyone. 150 is huge. We really appreciate that. We hope to see you around again. Again, thank you to our mods. Really awesome to have your guys' support in the chat. And really, really, really helpful. And we look forward, guys, to getting some more content out over the next few days. Yeah, it might be a little bit slow, but we'll definitely take the weekend off, me and Ash, or at least me, just to regroup, get some more energy, guys, rest up a little bit, and we'll be ready to go for next week as well. But thanks very much, guys. We'll leave it there. Stay safe. Up the wires as always. Peace.
Up the
Enjoy
wires.
the rest of your week. So, yeah.
Woo.